Om. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadashivasamarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Narayanam Padmabhavam Vasishtam Shaktim cha Tatputra Parasharam cha Vyasam Shukam Gaudapadam Mahantam Govinda Yogindra Matasya Shishyam Sri Shankaracharya Matasya Padma Padam cha Hastamalakam cha Shishyam Tam Todakam Vartika Karamanyan Asmadgurun Santatamanatosmi Shruti Smriti Purananamalayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Samasta Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham. Te Danyaha Bhavadikshana Shanagatehi Patrikritaha Svikritaha. So, those people who have taken to the blessings of, taken to the guidance of the teacher by the side glance of the teacher itself, they have become blessed. Say Danyaha. And this Kataksha Drishti, the side glance, so to say, of a Mahatma cannot happen unless he had recognized the student as most fit to receive this knowledge. That's why it is said there, that very Shruti itself is Sukham. The listening itself is a great joy. When you are very hungry, any food will be so tasty. When you are eagerly looking forward to something, and when you receive it, there is great joy. Here it is said, Shruti Sukaihi Vakyamridaihi Sechaya. Meaning, Shravanat eva jnanam. First of all, we need to understand. We got knowledge only by listening. Listening does not mean that somebody has to talk to you. If you are reading a book, the author is talking to you. That indirectly. So all knowledge have come from someone uttering either words or writing words. But if it is directly from a teacher and you gain the knowledge. And if you are eager for that knowledge, then it is to come. A student who is sitting in a classroom, if he is eager to learn, understand, then that listening is of great joy. If he is disinterested, that will be a pain. But here in the classroom of Vedanta, nobody is forced to listen to it. Nobody can be forced to become a Vedanta student. Because one who has a great desire to liberate oneself from this samsara dukkha, the worldly pains, such a person alone is really fit for this knowledge. It is, in other words, to say, a person who is having a scholarly approach to the subject may not enjoy as much as a person who is really wanting to get out of his unhappiness and therefore is listening to it. Vakyamritaihi sechaya, please shower me with this nectar of speech, nectar of words, which are, by very listening itself, is great joy. And thus, therefore, the student further submits to the teacher about what his problem is. Here it is said, Shudisukairadi Shravanam Kalebi Ananda Karehi Tyanena Tadartam Anusandaya Yet Anubhava Utpatyate Tatatvikaha Anandaha Kimubhaktavyahitiva. You know, that very listening itself is a great joy. What to talk of further Ananda, the bliss that one would get out of that knowledge. Yesterday, last class we saw joy, happiness, and bliss. When it is born out of some sense organ, sense activity, it is pleasure. When you achieve what you want, then it is joy. When you are content, you are happy. But when you release yourself from all bondages, then that is bliss. Moksha is not happiness, moksha is bliss. Everlasting. In fact, the bliss, ananda, is that when one comes to gain that knowledge and look at himself and look at the past, and he realizes, even when I was in the so-called state of bondage, actually I had a choice, which I did not look at. I had a choice not to get caught up in that, but I did not know that I have a choice. But now I can see how I was unmindful, mindlessly I was caught up due to my ignorance. See, when we take a wrong food and suffer, and when the doctor says you took a wrong food and therefore you're suffering, at that point of time, I did not know that it was wrong. Or I knew it, but yet my desire to eat was so much, I didn't make that choice. So here it is very clear, Ananda is available to me at that time also. But I did not have the access to it. So here the student is submitting to the teacher saying that I know that this worldly existence is like middle of the ocean where there is no boat, where there is no help, and I don't know even how to swim. Think about it. What would be the condition of a person who is right in the middle of a mighty ocean, right in the middle, and there is no boat available to him, or boat is wrecked? No wood is available, everything is gone due to the wind, and he is right in the middle of nowhere. What will he do? In the same way, now I am feeling. I'm caught in the middle of an ocean. Purvam Bidam Prapannam iti atra uktam Bitim Spashtayati Sahasa Swasmin Anugraha Siddhyartham Katam. Earlier he said, I am being burned by the fire of worldliness. Here now he says that I am caught in the middle of the ocean. Without your grace, I cannot come out. Therefore, in the verse number 42, I'm sorry, verse number 40, Katam tareyam bhava sindhumetam kava gatirme kadamostupayah janeena kinchit kripaya vamam prabho samsara dukkha kshadimatanushva katam tareyam bhava sindhumetam kava gatirme kadamostupayah janena kinchit kripaya mam prabho samsara dukkha kshadimatanushva katam tareyam etam bhavasindhum etam is bhavasindhum, the ocean of change. What is samsara? That which is constant change. As Gurudev would say, the Einsteinian world of time and space. It is constant change. No, we think change is from one condition to another. It is not. It is from one situation to contrary situation. Let me explain this carefully. Day turns to become night. The change takes place. Day to become night. So day becomes night means what? Where night is there, day is not there, day is there, night is not there. Right? So change is in such a way the other doesn't exist. Other cannot exist. Health and unhealthy. So when you are healthy, unhealthiness is not there. If you are unhealthy, the health cannot get in there because the condition is changed. But I mean, live and dead, alive and dead. So the change of one category is where the previous condition is completely lost, like day and night, heat and cold, life and death, right? Knowledge and ignorance. This is one type of change. Another type of change is where one condition has changed to another condition, retaining the previous condition also. Our body does not get old suddenly. Today I am young, tomorrow I am old. No. Slowly becoming. So that means what? The previous condition is almost gone, but new condition has come, but not the previous condition is completely over. But in the case of the pairs of opposites, what happened? Day and night, and then night becomes day again. But the old does not become young again. Please understand that. So where the world is of the opposite nature, the opposite contradictory things constantly happening. Summer becomes winter, winter becomes summer, summer, winter, summer, winter, heat, cold, heat, cold. But young and old, and after that, then you don't become young again. So if you have got a knowledge of a thing and earlier you were ignorant, so that knowledge also suddenly become ignorant again? No, you cannot. Maybe in another birth, maybe. Therefore, constant change, which unsettles the mind, constant change in the external world, which is contradictory to each other, constant change that are happening within me, which does not go back to which cannot retreat. One track only it goes. I cannot go back and become young. So here the student says, Bhavasindhu metam, like that of the ocean whose depth is not known. How deep it is, we don't know. Therefore, I do not know how long this will continue. How much I have to go through the experiences of life, not only this life, or many lives to come. Katam tareyam, how do I cross this? Kava gatihi, what is my final destiny? Kadamastu upayah, which is the method by which I can cross? First of all, how do I cross? Second is there any, what is my destination? And which is the direction which I have to go? Kadama means which is the solution for this? I don't know. So Kripaya Avama, please protect me. Hey Prabhu, Samsara Duksha Kshatim Atanushva. The method of destroying, Kshatim Nasha, the destruction of this worldly existence, please explain to me in detail. Atanushva. Atanu. Tanu means to spread. Atanu. Meaning completely in detail. In detail, please tell me. Not just to say, thou shalt not do it, thou shalt do it. No, no, no. I want explanation. I want you to describe to me. See, when you go to a doctor with a particular sickness, he may give you the medicine. You take it and you become free of that particular condition. But you do not know what that medicine is. So what happens then? Next time when you get a similar problem, you go back to the doctor and he will give you medicine. He will not explain to you what that medicine is all about. Could you understand the compound of the chemical compound? How it is made, who made it, what goes in, why it is in this way, it is mixed with this? No, he won't explain to those things to you. You are sick, come here, I'll give you medicine, you will become free of that problem. That is how they make money, right? If you know it. First of all, we don't even understand what it is. So many people, when they go to the Mahatmas or great masters, they only want quick results. I have a problem, will you solve me or not? They don't want explanations. Please bless me so that I will get out of this problem. But that is not the case of this student here. Explain to me. Atanushva. Meaning, this problem should not come back to me again. I would have to get ready to solve not only the present problem, but I will make sure that it doesn't come back to me again. That is called Atyantika Nivritti, complete cessation of the problem. So there's no quick fix here. Put a sellotape and then it's done. Ain't broken, don't fix it, right? Don't fix it, ain't broken. And you wait for the break and then fix it. But here you said that I just don't want a quick fix. I want a complete elimination of it forever. Somebody asked this question. Do you know what's the purpose of it? What is the meaning of it? So the fellow said, yes, the young boy said, yeah, sir. Dad, I know what is the meaning of life. The meaning of it, yes. What? It is in page number 937 in the dictionary, between life and lifeboat. Lie and lifeboat. L-I-E and lifeboat. Between these two, the meaning is there. That is not the explanation I want. Samsara dukkha kshati. Samsara dukkha means samsara eva dukkha. That's the sorrow of life. I want the destruction of it and the explanation you give me. Give me in detail. Evam bahuvida durvara dukha jala jatilam bhavasindum kadam tareyam. How do I cross? Evameva yedi vartayeya ma vakagadi. This is how I have to live, or if there is any further final goal. Maya kim tavat prapyam. How do I, is it possible for me to reach there? Sarvada dukkhamevedi bhavana. It is always there is a sorrow. Ataha kadamaha asti upaya. Which is this final upaya method? Evad bhavasindum tarane kava upaya asti. What is the method, or what is the way of getting rid of this? Is there anything? Upaya hastiva. Is there a way? Or am I just imagining that there is a possibility? First of all, I want to know how. Second, is there a way? And if you tell me that there is no way, then there's no need to discuss further. Aham tavat kinchidabi na jane. I don't know any one of this. Mam ava evam vidam paripahi. Please protect me from this fear. Avanam spattam prartyate samsara dukti kshadim atanushva iti. How do you protect me? Protect me by explaining to me. How do I get out? Samsarika shokam samula ghatam jagati jahi ityartha. Please remove the sorrow from the root cause. Don't do a symptomatic treatment. Root cause. So that's why Gurudev writes here in his commentary, last but one paragraph in this, he wants to know from the Guru what exactly should be the path for him. Through the process of trial and error, one can for oneself find the right path, but it is more convenient and indeed a sacred blessing if one can have a true teacher to show the correct path of self-development. Therefore, the student asks, which of the means should I adopt? He's not an unintelligent, helpless student here. He has observed life, understood that there is no external way of overcoming this. Gurudev used to say, a person who is unhappy in his own home or in her home, keep on rearranging the house. And put the table instead of here, put it there, and in the table in this room to the other room. Or change the wall and make a hall a little bigger. All these things they do. After some time, that is miserable. And that's why then all these people make money. Why? Because, oh, this is not right. You have to put this way, that one, and then it will look bigger than this. So keep on adding or deducting and all that. Finally, what happens? The joy, the sorrow that is internal cannot be overcome by external adjustments. That's why he used to give the two things: standard of life and standard of living. Standard of living is what the world understands. But standard of life is decided by the values, by your priorities, by your inner maturity and growth. So this boy has observed life very carefully and understood that any external adjustment that I do, how much ever I can do, whatever I do, is not going to solve the problem of samsara dukkham. So therefore, idanim guruhu kartavyam upadishati tada ityadina shlokatvayena. In the next two verses, what should a teacher do when such a student comes to you? This is an instruction for this teacher. What should such a teacher do when a student of this caliber comes to him? Verse number 41 here. Tatha vadantam sharanagatam swam संसारदावानलतापतप्तम् निरीक्षकारुण्य रसार्द्रदृष्ट्या दद्यादपीतिं सहसा महात्मा तदा वदन्तं शरणागतं स्वं संसारदावानलतापतप्तं निरीक्षकारुण्यरसार्द्रदृष्ट्या दद्यादपीतिं सहसा महात्मा Sahasa Mahatma Datyat. That's the main thing. Mahatma, a man of knowledge, a great man of wisdom, Sahasa, effortlessly, spontaneously to be precise. Abhidim Datyat. To give abhiti, fearlessness. When do we come out of the fear? Only when we are given the correct direction. Say, there is a way to come out of it. Don't be afraid. If the Guru himself is afraid of life, then what will happen? The Guru himself is running back to shelter. Such a person cannot help the student. The Guru must be one who is ready to face even death. So that's why Dakshinamurti is beautifully portrayed as Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is facing the south, while the students are facing the north. And Lord Shiva, as a young man, is facing the south with a smile. What do you mean by south? South always indicates loss, death. You know? Not southern direction, but it is south is in a symbolically. And that's why when you ask somebody, how is your business? It's all going south. Going south means not doing well. The southern direction is Himalaya. It is abode of death. So that doesn't mean ever the southerners are all bad. Not like that. He's facing south means what? He's able to face south. He's able to face death. And the students are facing him, obviously, then therefore they are sitting from the south, they are looking at him in the north, the northern direction. That is to say, the student, they are looking up to this teacher and understanding how to face death, how to face the uncertainties, how to face loss. And that student, that teacher there, Bhagavan Shiva as Dakshinamurti, is smiling away. Because Muditavadanam Dakshinamurti Mire is just smiling. Because he has answered to that. Know what you're suffering. Like Bhagavan Krishna also, Prahasan Bhagavan. Arjuna had all this trouble crying. By smiling away. You think you are thinking about the problem which doesn't exist. So here, Abhidim Sahasa Mahatma Datyat. How? Niriksha Karunya Rasardra Drishtya. Drishti, by looking at him, Drishtya, by that very glance, which is filled with Karunya Rasardra, oozing out of full of compassion, liquid compassion, so to say. Niriksha, seeing him, seeing the student with so much of compassionate eyes, vision. That compassion comes because he feels for the student, and he also understands that the student is so eager to come out of it. And that is why it is said, Tada Vadantam, to that boy or the student who is speaking, Sharanagatam Swam, one who has surrendered himself, Samsara Dava Anala Tapa Tattam, one who is being scorched by the heat of the worldly existence. To such a student, See, it is said when a young child is inside a house and suddenly it got caught into fire. And the mother knows that the child is inside. Will she wait for someone to come in? She will just get into that house without any preparation also, because she has so much love for the child. Even if I die, doesn't matter. I want the child to be out. You know? Because she knows that she can save him. In the same way, here that guru comes to understand that the student is suffering and I have the way to get him out of it. And therefore, he is looking at with him great compassion and says, "Fear not. Don't be afraid. There is a method." So here it is said, "Tada vadantam ityuktya vakya aparena tadiya adhikarasya antarasya samyagnatum shakyatvat adhikarinam jnatva eva abhayadana upadeshadikam gurubihi kartavyam iti jyotitam." Because the student here who is suffering, he is very equipped, qualified, and only to such a qualified student this teaching will become effective. Otherwise, the teacher may give the correct knowledge and the student has no mental maturity to receive that knowledge, then it will be such a waste. Why waste? Because taking that knowledge, he cannot come out. See, in a true situation, a teacher does not discriminate from one student to another. The knowledge is the same. He will give the same knowledge to everyone, but according to the quality of the student, so will be the growth of the student. It is not the guru is making a special effort to make one person better than the other, but according to the qualification. Very words that he uttered, the student, shows that how eager it is. He is. Tada vadantam iti upatutya. That way, one who spoke, vakya vyaparena tadiya adhikarasya antarasya samyagnatum shakyatvat. Because the very words that the student uttered has clearly had revealed that he is qualified. One boy went to a Zen master and he said that I would like to learn from you the truth about my own being. The teacher was quietly looking at him. Come, let us have some tea. He sat down, both 2 cups were put, and this teacher picked up the jar and the container which had the tea and started to pour in its own cup, in the student's cup. And he asked, "Okay, where and all you have gone so far to learn?" "Oh, I learned from this master, that great master, this master." And he went on pouring that the cup became full and it's overflown and to the saucer, and the saucer also became full, and then it started to go down into the table. The student said, hey, wait, what are you doing? And sir, you are wasting the tea. It's already full. Master smiled and said, exactly. It will be a waste to give you the knowledge because you are full of yourself. Empty yourself first. This surrender shows that I'm emptying myself. I don't know. That's what he says. Janena kinchit sampapayam. I don't know where to go. Narada also said to Sanat Kumaras, I have learned so many different kalas and skills, but I do not know how to cross samsara. I do not know how to overcome this worldly existence. I don't know. Please teach me. Shrokasya param tarayatu iti. Please make me cross over to the higher side of this sorrow. Even though I have learned everything, all various things that are to be learned in this world, I've learned. But None of them could help me to get out of it. So the very words uttered by the student revealed how qualified he is. Samsara dava anala tapa taptam swam swatmanam sharanagatam rakshakatvena matva praptam karunya rasardra drishtya niriksha mahatma akshudra buddhihi guruhu sahasa abhididatya adi anena vitaha sahasa abhitya mochaniya iti yanchitam. So such a person who has thus surrendered to himself, how, I mean, and he asked, please protect me, by glance, giving him a glance of compassion. And the student, and the teacher is what? Mahatma means what? Akshudra buddhi, akutilata, no crookedness. The teacher has no private personal agenda about the whole thing. Knowledge should be always free. Knowledge cannot be sold. It should not be sold. If you're selling knowledge, you are inserting it. You are insulting the knowledge. $100 for first level of meditation. $250 second level. This is commercial. What are you trying to do? You're selling that knowledge for money. That means what? The money is greater than knowledge. This is not according to you. If I am selling you a product, what is my attitude then? That product which I am selling to you versus the money. Money I value more than the what I sell it to you. Correct? If I have a watch, which is say $100, $200, and I sell you, give me $200 and I'll give you the watch. Meaning what? I want money and you take the product. What means? That means I value the money than the product. So if a person says, I will sell knowledge, what is your attitude towards the knowledge? That is called Kshudra Buddhi. Crookedness, personal agenda. You are valuing, you are considering money over this knowledge. What a tragedy. People fall for it. $200 I paid and I became, I learned meditation this way. $300 I became a third level. You're not third level, you're lower level. If you're learning from such a master, then he himself does not have a regard for the knowledge. So, Akshudra Buddhi, that is why he is able to give the knowledge to the student with so much of love. He has love for that knowledge. And therefore, whoever receiving that knowledge also he loves. Guruhu sahasa abhidi tatya anena sahasa abhitya mochaniya iti ochita. It is that by this knowledge, by receiving it, you will spontaneously I am giving it to you, and spontaneously you will also receive and come out of it. Abhayadanena nivritta bhidihi eva purushasya upadishtartha grahanadau samarthyaha sambhavati iti bhavaha. By giving this fearlessness, abhayadanena nivritta bhidhireva, by fear, eliminating fear alone, purushasya upadishta artha grahanadau samarthyam. Only when you remove the fear from the mind of the student, he will become ready to receive it. If the fear is continuously there, the student may not have the attention for it. First thing you should do, fear not. The psychological treatment there. When a patient goes to this doctor and he says that I have this problem, first thing he says, I have a solution. The moment he says I have a solution, half of the problem is solved. The mind of the patient becomes ready to take the medicine. If he says, I don't know whether the medicine will work or not, anyway, let us try. Then the patient would say, "Sir, doctor, yes, I need to go for a second opinion." I have told you this before also. The patient is being rolled into surgery. So then, as he was entering into the operation theater, and he was put down there, and before the anesthesia was given, that patient asked this doctor, "Doctor, I have one question. Will I survive?" I said, "I will be there, don't worry." He said, "I don't mind whether you are there or not. My question is whether I will be there or not." First thing, you must eliminate the fear. Only when the fear is gone, then there is a receptivity in the mind. That's why he says, Abhayadanena, Grahanado, Abhudashtartha Gahanado, Samartyam Bhavati Sambhavati. Vidasya Vayam Shaktena, Bahukalam na Stapaniyam iti, just Sahasa ityuktam. That fear also should be removed from the student quickly. Don't wait too much time. Quickly remove it. Vidasya Avayadanam Pradamadaha Kartavyam ityuktva Adhikara Anusareena Upadeshaha Anantarakalika iti Bodhayati Vidwan ityadina. The next verse is saying that having removed the fear from the mind of the student, at once the student is going to be given that assurance, yes, there is a method to overcome. That is said in the next verse. Vidwan satasma upasattimi yushe mumukshave sadhu yatoktakarine prashanta chittaya samanvitaya Tattvopadesham kripayaiva kuryat. Vidwan satasma upasattimi yushe mumukshave sadhu yadoktakarine prashanta chittaya samanvitaya tattvopadesham kripayaiva kuryat. Savidwan, such a man of, not only earlier he was referred as Mahatma, but here Vidwan Saha Tasmai Upasatti Miyushe. Upasatti Miyushe, the one who has surrendered to him completely, one who is fully Upasatti Miyushe. As Gurudev writes, in this anxiety for liberation has sought the protection of the teacher, one who has to approach the teacher. Upasadanam. Upasadanam is to approach. Guru Upasadanam is considered as a very important step, because one should not misconstrue that I can learn by myself all these things, so I don't need to go to a teacher. Bhagavan Krishna says in Gita, Tadvidhi pranipadena pariprasnena seveya upadekshantite jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. The teacher must be approached, even if you are a scholar. Shastrajna api, even if you are a person, a man of Shastra knowledge, Atma Jnana Praptaye, for the sake of gaining this knowledge about the self, to the Guru, one has Upasadanam Kurya, Guru Upasadanam Kurya. Na Swatantriyena, by oneself, Atma Vikshanam na Kurya. Now let him not enter into deliberation upon the self without the help of a teacher. Acharyavan Purusho Veda. A person who has the right teacher definitely understands this knowledge. That is why Guru is considered as equal to that of a teacher. I mean, as equal to the God. In the Shastra, Vedanta Shastra, it is said, one who has the love for the God, as much love he has for God, that much love if he has for Guru. Yata deve parabhaktihi yata devo deve tata guru. As he has the same love and devotion that he has for God, if he has for the Guru, tasyaiha tasyaiva katitahi arthaha prakashante ma. To that person, the knowledge will reveal itself. So here, the student has, even though he learned, let's say Vidwan, Sa Tasmai Upasatti Miyushe Mumukshave, one who is seeking for liberation, Sadhu Yadokta Karine, one who has performed his work with a noble attitude. Sadhu, nobly. Yada Ukta Karine, whatever be the injunctions of the Vedas, Kartavya karmas have been completed by him. Prashanta Chittaya, one whose mind has become relatively peaceful. Shaman Vidaya, one who has gained the qualification like mind control, sense control, etc. Shama, Dhamma, Uparadi, Didiksha, Shraddha, Samadhana, Ityadi. Tattvopadesham Kripaya Eva Kuryat. May the teacher do the knowledge advice, Tattva Upadesha, Kripaya, with compassion, we should give. So the student who is qualified must be properly treated by the teacher. That is the advice here. Savidwan Brahmavittamaha Deshikaha Upasattimi Vidivat Samibam Gataya Mumukshave Moksham Kamayamanaya Sadhu Yadoktakarane Samyak Vihita Anushtatre. These are all the qualifications for the student have been explained. Etena Shishtatvam Uttam. This is the discipline. Na virado duscharita na shanto na samagitaha na shantamano manasovapi prajnaneneva. If a person has gained even the other Shastra knowledge, but he has not got the self-discipline, it will not work. Shotriyatvam, Avrajinatvam, Moksha, Kama, Vidirikta Kama Shunyatvam, Cha Shishye Avekshaniyam. The guru, the teacher must evaluate the student and make sure that boy has minimum traces of desire. If he's completely desireless, he's a Mahatma, saint. You know, yesterday when I was talking to fifth graders, students, and the Bible had, and one boy asked this question, why are you? What is the difference between a sannyasi and a sadhu? Very interesting, this young kids, very deep questions they ask. What is the difference between a renunciate and a saint? So I said, a saint need not be a renunciate, a renunciate need not be a saint. A person who has given up his worldly responsibilities and ready for knowledge and ready to walk the knowledge becomes a saint. Not because just he has renounced the world or renounced his responsibility does not mean he has become a saint. Similarly, a saint, one who has gained this great realization, need not be a renunciate also. He can be a worldly person. Worldly person means he still have his responsibilities in the world, but he has gained the status of a saint because of his ultimate realization of the truth, and he uncompromisingly lives that, even though from the other standpoint, he will be still living like any other. Rameshna Paramahansa is an example. Janaka is another example. In the Shastra it is given. Many of them are. But the likelihood of a sannyasi becoming a saint is very high because of preparation. When the worldly responsibilities are set aside, there must be a purpose why he is given a right. If that purpose is not served, then what is the purpose? What is the need to give up everything? So a sannyasin has a greater scope to become a saint, but saint not necessarily need to be a sannyasi. And I always said scholars talk, saints walk. Scholars talk, go on giving talk. But saints quietly they walk towards the truth, very silent. So sadhu. So here it is said, a person prashanta chittaya, mind has become peaceful. Dehadi brahma paryanta bhogya vastunaha virajya. From body onwards up to the heavens, he has given up all desires about everything. Swalakshe niyata avasthita manaskaya, keeping the mind one-pointedly on the goal. Samanvidaya nigrihita bahirindriyaya, even giving up all the attachment to the external pleasures. Tattvopadesham kripaya tadiya dukkha prahanechaya aptakamasya sprahantara bhavat, with having no other desire in the mind, such a person who is ready for such a knowledge, patre datta brahma vidya, to such a person, when, after Kama says, kuryadeva ityeva karaha binnakramaha. So to such a student, it should be given. Adhikarini labde na udasitavyam. To such a student, when he has come, the guru should not neglect it. Swami Tapovanam, you know the story. Swami Tapovanam was approached by Swami Chinmayananda because Shivananda was his first guru, no doubt. When he went to him, he learned the discipline of life. How Swami Shivananda was originally a doctor in Malaysia, but he came to Himalayas and became a yogi, to whom Swami Chinmayananda reached as a journalist to find out what these fellows are up to. He was a very skeptic journalist. And then he lived there in the monastery, the ashrama, for some time, observed him, and he realized how greatly he mistaken him. He realized these great masters, even though they have all professional skills of being a doctor, but very selflessly they are now serving the poor with so much of love. He realized what a great way of living, serving the masses, serving the people. But at the same time, he had a lot of doubts and questions. What is God? Where is God? Where is God? And all that. So Swami Shivananda looked at him and said, you are a person of intellect, and you need a guru who can give answers to your questions. Okay? So I'm sending you to Swami Tapovanam. So he sent him. So Swami Tapovanam lived in Uttarkashi. It is almost 15 days of trekking you have to do to reach the abode of Swami Tapovanam, who was living in the upper part of the Himalayas. So he walked all those times, there was no road. So he walked all the way and reached the abode of Swami Tapovanam, who was in great state in meditation, deeply in meditation, with few students next to him. And when he reached there and they saluted him and said, I have been sent by Swami Shivananda to learn from you. So will you please teach me the great knowledge? Swami Tapovanam said, did you bring a letter from him? How do I know that you are sent by Swami Shivananda? No, I don't have it. Go and read. Think about it. 15 days to go down again, 15 days to go back again. 15 days he came down. And when Swami Shivananda was talking to disciples, hey, you came back, why? Why? What happened? You didn't reach, you couldn't know, you couldn't go and reach the abode. Did I give a wrong address to you, wrong place? Everything was fine. I went to him. He told me to get a letter. He's testing whether you really want to learn or you are only intellectual. Read your letter. So he wrote a letter to Swami Tapovanam. I'm sending this boy who's very eager to learn. It is my recommendation, and then signed him and gave. Taking that, he went back to me. And as he reached the abode of Swami Tapovanam, Tapanji looked at. In the meanwhile, when he sent him away, the other students said, "He was such a nice boy. Why did he?" I want to find out. When he reached back against Swami Tapovanam, and he extended the letter. Here is a letter from Swami. Shivan. That is how he tested it. He knows how to understand. That's why it is said, the student must be such an eager student, only to that student the knowledge will remain. That's why it says here beautifully, Adhikarani labdhe na upadasitavyam patre datta brahma vidya loka anugrahartam pradishtita bhavati iti bhava. To such a student, when the knowledge is given, it will never become waste. And you see, it is not an exaggeration. To such a fit student, when the knowledge is given, how many hundreds and thousands of people benefit from it? You know, even today, it is not a waste. That knowledge which was given by Swami Tapovanam to Chinmayananda has helped hundreds and thousands of people. That eagerness that student had, that was the key. If that was not there, I would not be there. You would not be here to learn. So that knowledge is given to a right person. Matre datta brahma vidya. It is given to the correct person. Loka anugrahartam, for the benefit of the world. Pradishtita bhavati, it becomes established. Uttam cha sarva anartha hetu bhuta avidya nivartaka brahma vidya paramparya vicheda swashishya mochanam cha upadeshasya phalam. The result of this knowledge is what? The total elimination of all the effects of ignorance which are being suffered by the student. Tatra guru shishya sammada rupena prakarana pranayanam sulabhataya tattvasya shrotru buddhi arohaya. This explanation being given by Shankaracharya for us to understand the conversation between the teacher and the student that is going to take place will create enough eagerness to all of us. What that student is learning from this teacher, how is he going to explain the method of overcoming sorrows in life? See, even in Gita, when Arjun said that I cannot fight anymore, first thing Bhagavan Krishna says, Ashochanam Ashocastvam. You are worrying about something you should not do. The one statement is finished. You are thinking about something as a problem which is not there. It is your own mind created problem. After all, what is bondage, you tell me? Is it something physical that we are suffering from? Most of our suffering of bondage is mental. I want this, I don't want this, I like this, I don't like this, this is good, that is bad. Attachment, possession, likes, dislikes, anger, lust, passion, greed, jealousy. All these are what? Physical? Are we being bound physically by somebody? Are we in a prison? We are caught up? No, we are not. So if the problem is in the mind, the solution also there only, not in physical. How much of a physical thing you do, mentally you are bound, slave, that cannot be overcome. So first thing is, if there is a real problem, I can solve you by telling you this and that. But if it's an imagined problem, I have to stop imagining. Stop imagination. Don't project the wrong ideas, notions. But that cannot happen suddenly. No? It has to be given slowly. Direct the mind of the student slowly in the right way of thinking. It cannot be an overnight change. So that is why it takes time between the discussion between the teacher and the student. Slowly will unfold one by one, one by one, one by one. Finally, to open up like a beautifully blossoming flower, which opens up slowly but beautifully. The same way, the mind of a student will release itself from the bondage. Along with that mind of the student, we should also travel. That is the idea. So now you'll tell, don't worry, this is there is the method of overcoming. Know how to go about it. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ।